This is your instructor, Megan McNames, and this video is for Journalism 368 Online. In this video, I'll be introducing you to Google Docs, also called Google Drive, and I'll talk a little bit about how you're going to be using this set of tools in the class. So first, what is Google Docs and Drive? I'm sure you've heard of them before, but what exactly do they do and what are they? And just to provide an overview, it can be a little bit confusing because Google Docs and Google Drive are basically the same thing. Google Docs was released several years ago and Google Drive was released more recently. So Google Docs was rebranded as Google Drive. So I sometimes get questions like, oh, I used to use Docs, can I use that? Well, if you're using Google Drive, you really are using that. So it's a little bit confusing because of the name change. But whether it's been called Docs or Drive, Google, and I tend to call it Google Docs because that name's been around longer, and that's what I started using it. You know, it's what it's called when I started using it. But Google Docs is part of the Google Apps suite. So Google offers free web tools online, such as Gmail and Google Docs. There's lots of web tools. We'll look at more in this class, including alerts and analytics, but we're going to start with Google Docs. You're going to use Docs or Drive to create your homework a lot of times, unless you're being asked to create in Illustrator or something like that specifically. You'll use Docs or Drive to turn in your homework. You'll get comments from me on your work, so I'll be providing feedback through Google Docs. However, you'll still have to use Blackboard to submit your homework and to look at your grades. There's no grading system available in Google Docs or Google Drive, so you'll still have to use Blackboard to look at your rubrics and to see your grade, but all comments will be on your Google Docs work. So what is Google Docs? How does it work? Google Docs is really what's called cloud-based storage. And cloud storage is any kind of storage where your files are stored on a third-party computer, so not your computer, not something that's local, a computer that's not in your office or in your building. So how does that work? Well, you'll get on your laptop or your computer at home and you'll go to your browser. You know, I prefer Chrome, but you could use Safari or Firefox, and or Internet Explorer if you've got that, and you'll type in the address for Gmail or Google Docs, and what that will do is that will connect you to one of Google's servers, which I've pictured over on the right. This is a photo of a real Google server warehouse. And your files don't actually live on your computer, they live on these servers. If you look at the picture of the server warehouse, you'll see these flat pieces of metal are sort of stacked in rows, almost like donuts or something in a bakery. Each of those is a computer called a server that houses data. And so when you use your computer to create a Google Doc, you're only using your computer to do the typing and the handling of the files, but the files are actually stored on Google's computers in their warehouse, and they have several of these warehouses. This is what cloud storage is all about. We consider the area where those files live, those warehouses everywhere, to be the cloud. And what's interesting about server space, like this warehouse that you see from Google, is if you create a document on your computer, so if you open Microsoft Word and you create the document and you save it, wherever you save that file, that's where all the data is. With big servers like Google, your file's going to get broken up into different pieces of data which are stored on different computers in the server structure, and everything's backed up multiple times. So if one of these server computers dies somehow, something goes wrong and it burns out, which happens all the time, your data is still safe because they have a copy of it somewhere else, and also not all of your files are on one server computer there. So when you use Google Docs, even though you're using your computer to type and to upload stuff, it's actually being saved in a server computer somewhere else. And it's the internet that makes this possible. That's cloud computing. So there's two ways that you can access Google Drive. You can actually install it on your desktop, a lot like the service Dropbox, if any of you have used that before. And over on the left, you'll see I have a screenshot of Drive installed on my computer. And you'll see my computer has all the regular folders. So I have Dropbox that I've added, applications, desktop, documents, downloads, movies, music, like you're probably used to seeing. And then Google Drive has been added. And now I can access all of my Google Drive documents. You also can access Google Drive through your browser, and this is what I suggest for the class, just because I think it's easier to use when you're first starting out with cloud computing. So you can access Google Drive by going to drive.google.com or docs.google.com, or by going into your email and clicking on the Drive logo. It will take you to your Drive. And you can just see the difference between these two. If you install it on your desktop, it makes it look like the files live on your computer, even though they don't. If you use it through the browser, it's pretty clear that these files aren't on your computer. So there's a few skills that you need in order to use Google Docs or Drive, and I want to go through those one by one. First, you'll need to join, then you'll need to learn how to create documents, how to share documents, how to view comments that I'll be leaving for you, and finally, how to get a folder that I'm going to share with you into your Drive, and how to turn docs in on Blackboard. So first, how do you join Google Drive or Google Docs if you haven't already? You'll go to drive.google.com, and unfortunately I can't really show you what it looks like because I've already added myself to Google Drive. So when I go to drive.google.com, I just see all my files. If you don't have Drive yet, create a Gmail account and then go to drive.google.com, and you'll see a little button that says, you know, get now or something like that. Just go ahead and press it and Google will create Drive for you. This will give you automatic access, and your Gmail account is linked up with your Drive account. So if you want to log into Drive, you just use your Gmail account. So this week you'll fill out a form with your Gmail address, and once I have that, I'm actually going to create a folder that you and I are going to share for the next 16 weeks. It's going to look like this. It's going to say 368:, and it'll have your full name. And what I'll do is I'll send you an email with a link to the folder. All you have to do is click it, and now you can get into that folder. And you and I will share access to that folder. So it's nice. It's kind of like having a locker somewhere that you can leave stuff. Like if you're a spy and you want to leave someone money, you open the locker, you put money in, and then the person who's getting the money has a key to the locker too, and at some other time they'll come in and they'll use the key to open it and they'll take the money out. That's exactly what we're doing here. I'm going to create a folder, you're going to put things in it, and then whenever I need to grade it, I'm going to be able to go in there and open things that you've made. So in that Your Name folder, that's where you're going to create your homework, and I'm going to leave comments for you. But just as a reminder, grades will still be on Blackboard, and you'll still need to turn in an assignment each week. You'll just turn in a link to your Google document. So how do you create documents in Google Drive? It's pretty simple. Go to drive.google.com and you'll see this screen. Press Create, the orange button on the left, if you want to create something, or press the arrow icon if you want to upload something you've already made. So in this class you'll be making various designs, so you'll need to upload images or PDFs. You can upload it through there. When you press Create, you get a drop down that looks like this, and you can tell Google Drive what kind of document you want to make. You'll pretty much always be making either documents or presentations. After you make the document, there's different ways you can share it. There's actually three main ways in Google Drive to share materials among people. And I'll start with the one I like least, and I'll move to the one that you're going to use in this class, the one that I like the best. So first, you can press the share button. So if you look down here, this is a screenshot of an open document in Drive. So I've opened the BSU site content rubric, and I can press the share button, and that will pull up this window over here. And in the invite people section, I can put in the name or email address of the person I want to share this document with. When I press done, that person will get an email that looks like this. They can click on the link and it will give them access to the document. Now, I ask that you please never use the share button in this course, share anything with me, and the reason is that I have dozens of students, and I use Google Docs in almost all of my classes, and I have used it in almost all of my classes for at least a year. So I really am having trouble at this point keeping track of all the emails. If every student presses share and sends me an email for every document they make every week, I'm going to be getting hundreds of these document links, and I really just can't handle that. I have no way of sorting that out very easily. So if you press the share button and you send me something, I probably won't even see it, and if I do, it's very difficult for me to then do much with it. So I'm just showing you how this works because a lot of people do use this feature, and I want you to know what the button does, but please don't use the button in this class. At some point you will have to click the share button but you'll never add my email to it and send me an email. So please don't use that method. The second method is by putting the materials in a shared folder. So as I said earlier, I'll be creating a folder with your name on it, and you and I will share it. If you want to give a document to me, you just need to move that document into that folder. Again, it's like the lockbox. If you have something you want me to see, you just move it into that lockbox, i.e. folder, and then I'll have access to it. So first, you'll open the document you want to share, and then you'll go to File, Move to Folder, and that will pop up this window over here. You'll select the folder you want, and you can tell it's selected when you have a little check mark next to it. If the folder has a little icon of a person like you're seeing here, that means this is a shared folder. And then you'll press Move, and that will put your document in the lockbox/folder that you and I share, and I'll be able to see it. Now, the third method, which I think is the easiest, is just to create the document in the shared folder. So as soon as you decide you need to make a document that's shared with me, just go to that folder and make the document there. And if you go into a folder, anything you create or upload all in that area stays there, and it's automatically shared. So as an example, what I've done here is you can see in my Drive file structure, I clicked Teaching, 2012 Fall, Journalism 368, and then I clicked on the All Student folder, which we won't have in this class, but in my in-person classes we use to share things among students. We have Blackboard in this class, so we won't be using that. But you can see that I've gotten all the way to the All Student folder. It's highlighted in orange, and over here it's labeled at the top, All Student folder. So I'm currently in this folder, and you can see here we have what's called breadcrumbs, again telling me I'm in the folder. So it's telling me I went to my Drive, Teaching, 2013 Fall, JOURN368, and then I clicked on the All Student folder, and this is everything that's in there right now. If I want to add something to this folder, while I'm here looking in the folder, I just press Create, and this document will automatically go in this folder. And in fact, when I press Create, I'll get a little warning that's warning me, hey, you're putting this in a shared folder. Did you know that? And of course I know that. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'll just press Create and Share, and that document will stay in that folder. Now, the nice thing about Google Docs is that everything is time-stamped. So if you upload something to a folder and you go to turn it in and I can't find it, what I'll do is I'll give you a 0, but I'll give you the chance to turn it in. I'll say, I can't find this in our folder. Please make sure you get it to me. And you can go back and you can find out where it is, and you can move it to the right place. And if the timestamp is correct, if it shows me that you really did do it before the assignment was due, then I'll have the chance to look at it and give you the correct grade. So it's another reason I like Google Drive. Let's take a look at sharing in action. I'm going to look at my Google Drive folder and just give you a sense of what it looks like and how it works. Okay, so here I am in my Google Drive, and I haven't done anything yet. I just went to drive.google.com. Or if you're in Gmail, if you click on this square, it'll show you your tools, and you can click Drive, and that also will bring you here. So I'm just looking at everything I've made, and right now it's arranged by the last thing that I did. So house expenses I worked on this morning, all these documents I opened then further and further back in time. So there's an area called My Drive, and if I click this little arrow, I get a drop down and I can see all the folders that I've put in my Drive, and you can see the folders that I've shared. So logo prototypes is shared, magazine project is shared, Nathan photos is shared. Anything with a little person icon is shared. And I can continue clicking these little drop downs to see file structures in there as well. So you can see in teaching, I have all the different years that I've been teaching. I have some other things that I use for teaching. If I want to know who I've shared a document with, if I hover or folder, if I hover over it and I click the arrow, I can click Share, and I'll get a little pop-up showing me who I've shared this with. So this folder called Nathan Photos, these are some photos I shot at the Children's Museum for their volunteer newsletter, and so you can see that I've shared it with Mary LaVenture, who is one of the volunteer coordinators there. And so I have some information about who this is shared with, and if I want to add someone, I can type their name in here and then press Share and Save, and they'll be added to the folder as well. So I can add people on different levels. I can add people to folders. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't really want to share that. Or I can just share individual items. So if I click inside Nathan Photos, you'll see I have all these different photos that I sent her. And right now, you see up in the right-hand corner, I share the folder, I'm the owner, and she can edit all of these. So she can get in there and download all these folders, which is what she needed to do. Again, I can add a person by sharing the folder. Or maybe I just want to share one photo. Maybe Nathan wants these pictures of himself, but he only wants the best one. So I can click on it, and I can, now that it's highlighted, if I click share right here, it'll share only this picture instead of the entire folder. So I think Google Docs and Drive can be a little bit confusing because it does so much. It's all about being aware of what you're pointing to and what you're asking Google to do. So I've highlighted this picture. Anything I now do will only affect that picture. So if I click share, if I click folder, which is going to help me move it, if I click delete, if I click look, it's only going to affect that picture. If I click the name of the folder, however, if I uncheck this and I click the name of the folder, now anything I do will affect the whole folder. So it's all about understanding what you're pointing to and then what you want Google to do with that. Let's take a look at some other areas. I have here in shared with me folders that other people shared with me that I don't own. So here's, let's see, I've got a lot in here. What I'm looking for is, actually this one will work. Muncie Mission Virtual Community. This is a project I worked on, and again, I'm in the folder, so up here's the name of the folder, and here's the names of everyone who I've shared that with. And this one actually is shared with anyone, so anyone can actually access this folder and look at these materials. And you can do that by clicking Share Folder, and who has access, you can change it from public to anyone with a link to shared privately. So kind of depends on how much security you want, but I can click on one of the documents and it will open in another window. I'm sorry, rather another tab. And still I can do things to it. So I can click share and I get that same share area that I had before, but now I'm sharing just this document, not the entire folder. And I can do some other things, like I can click move to folder and I can choose where I want this to go. So maybe I really think this should go in education, digital publisher. This is now highlighted, so if I click move, this document will go out of the folder it's in now and move to this digital publisher folder. I can go back to Google Drive. So I hope this sort of gives you a quick overview of how Google Docs works. It's actually a really fascinating program that can help you stay highly organized. It is up to you to sort of keep organization. When I started using Docs, I really didn't organize very well, and you can sort of tell if I click my drive, you can see I have like tons and tons of stuff in here, and it's impossible to find now. I have more than 2,000 items in here, so it's really important that you learn to work with folders. You can actually create a folder, and that works the same way. Like if I create a folder now, I'm clicked on my drive, so it will appear in here. Maybe I want a folder in ball bearings, so I can now click create folder, just call it new folder, and you'll see it now appears in ball bearings. So I would suggest, even though I'm sharing a folder with you, if you want to get used to using Google Docs and Drive, I would suggest that you just make a couple folders, maybe one for each class, something like that. Alright, let's continue on with some of the other skills that you need in order to use Google Docs and Drive. You'll need to be able to view comments, and this one's actually really easy. If you go into a document where I've left comments, the comments will be over on the right, and any area of highlighted material goes along with each comment. So this goes with this, this goes with this, this goes with this. I think you can actually click on each of these too, and it will show you where it goes. Because I left the comments, I can't really have a conversation with myself, but when I leave comments with you on your documents, there's a little text down here that says reply. You can actually reply to my comments. So if I say something like, I don't think this is a very good idea, you can click reply and you can explain yourself to me. Couple more things. One thing I've noticed is some students, when they get the shared folder link from me, it goes to their shared with me folder and not to their Drive folder, and it can be kind of confusing. So if you get a shared link with me, I think this probably will happen to most of you because of how Google now handles these, but when you get the shared folder from me, I'll create it, I'll share it with the Gmail account that you gave me, you'll get a link in your email, click the link, and that will add the folder to your Drive, but it's going to add it to this shared with me line right here. So what you want to do is click on that folder here, check it, and then click add to my Drive, and that's going to make it move up here into your Drive. So again, to add the folder I share with you to your Drive instead of the shared with me folder, you're going to click on shared with me, you're going to select the folder like this, and then you're going to click add to my Drive. The last thing I want to go over is how to turn docs in on Blackboard. If you're in my online classes, the difficulty is I really like Google Docs, but Blackboard requires that you turn something into me in order for me to give you a grade. I can't give you a grade if you don't put anything on Blackboard. So it's not, I sort of wish it wasn't like that, but that's how it is. So what you'll need to do is submit the link to your Google Doc, and here's how you do that. Open your doc that you want to share with me, and then click the share button. And I know I said never to use the share button, but you're going to press the share button, but you're not actually going to go through the whole process of sharing. What you're going to do is press the share button, so open the document you want to turn in, press the share button, and then up here there's a link to your document. It's only accessible to anyone who's already shared on the folder. So your document needs to be in our shared folder, but you can come in here and get the link, and then you'll press done, and then you'll submit that on Blackboard. So let's take a look at how that works. Okay, I'm in my J103 class, which I'll just use as an example. You'll click on assignments, you'll go into the weeks folder for which you want to submit your Google Doc. You'll click on the name of the assignment, and then you will, where it has add comments, you'll paste the link to your doc, and then you'll press submit, and that's really all there is to it. If you guys have any questions about Google Docs, Drive, they can be asked in the frequently asked questions discussion board on the course Blackboard site, or you can email them to me directly, or if you're available during my office hours, you can chat me during my office hours. I would be glad to answer any questions that you have. Please don't struggle with moving documents around and feel like you can't ask for help because, you know, it looks like it should be pretty simple. Just let me know what's going on. I know it can be confusing to use these new programs, so please just reach out and let me know what you need help with. I'd be glad to provide it. That's about it for this video. Welcome to the cloud.